Spears and Steinberg.
You know what the it is?
Aries and Andy, Jew and the Jerk.
You know it's time to get this work.
The real raw, gutter, uncut, cold. No political corrections.
Always sleep.
Being awoke. We discuss politics and jokes.
Scribe, we lit.
There's levels to this shit. Before you was on your mama.
Ary Spears don't give a fuck.
We talk about race a lot, racism,
Sexism,
much love to my loyal bag holders,
rollers, loaders.
we got them in the folders.
The whole world on our shoulders.
Spears and Steinberg.
Yeah.
Hey, what's happening, y'all? We had told y'all some while back that we wanted to talk about Black Twitter. And we had wanted to talk about Black Twitter, the Kevin Spacey thing, and the Brat Pack. And I had assumed that first of all, the Kevin Spacey thing I just found by luck and then recommended it to Andy. But I didn't know that the Brat Pack wasn't out yet. And so as much as I wanted to line all those things up as one, the universe didn't see it so. But now we've talked about Spacey. We've seen the Brat Pack because it's out. And Andy told me he watched it and I watched it. I thought it was going to be like a couple episodes, like 2-3 episodes that made up the entire documentary. But it was really just one episode, one and done, about an hour and a half on Hulu. And then, we had already watched Black Twitter, but just never got around to it. And listen, I don't have an extensive amount of things to say about Black Twitter, but I know Andy and he knows me. So this conversation will still have some meat on it. But long story short, we're talking about Black Twitter today, which you can see on Hulu. I think that's a 3-part. It was 3 parts, right?
Yeah, 3 parts.
3-part. And then check out also on Hulu the Brat Pack. And anybody that's my age or older, 80s baby, you just going to be very nostalgic for you.
I really, I was in immediately because of it.
Yeah. So on this Black Twitter, on episode 1, something that I didn't know until they mentioned it was that, I guess out of a lot of these sites, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, one of the very first ones was MySpace.
Yeah.
And they mentioned something about, I guess once Black people started getting a hold of MySpace, they said that there was a thing called white flight where a lot of the users from MySpace were leaving because Black people were coming on. Folks, do you think I just make this up? This is where I come with my frustration, where if I seem repetitive, where I go, white people, white people, white people, white people, y'all are the ammunition to this fodder. Like, really? Niggas can't even get on a social media platform without y'all feeling a certain kind of way?
I disagree with that wholeheartedly.
Okay, I'm listening.
No, because first of all, I think it was an age group thing is more of what it was because...
just so you know, before you say what you're about to say,
yeah.
I'm telling you what they said.
Yeah, I know. I watched it too.
Okay, I just feels like you're going into a different direction.
No, I felt it was an age group thing because, and this is why, from my personal experience, I was a MySpace guy. I was on MySpace. I wasn't on Facebook. I liked MySpace, and MySpace still exists for a lot for entertainment, for music, for comedians use it still. But I didn't want to go to Facebook. But things migrated to Facebook because, and I think this has a lot to do with it, they were younger and they knew the technology better. They built the platform to work efficiently for younger people. And because the age group of people in social media were gearing younger, it came up that way. Now, is it coincidence? Is it 100% what I'm saying?
So basically you're saying there's no validity to what he said.
I'm saying I think the timing is the same. I think, yeah, maybe they could be, but how do you, because it works in an algorithm, right? You're not going to see that there's just Black people all of a sudden all over it. You're going to get your friends, you're going to get connection to who's on it. It's not going to be like, oh, I can't go on this MySpace anymore without Black people coming up. You're in an algorithm that relates to the people that are your friends.
Okay, so you're saying that you think that this is a case where Black people are pulling the race card to be pulling the race card. There's no validity to what he said.
I can't say that there's no validity to it, but I'm saying that if we're looking at the algorithm, it works by who's your friends. You're going to see the people that you are connected to. I don't think that you're not crossing the street in MySpace and all of a sudden running into a wild gang of black people that are scaring the white children. That's not happening.
So where does it come from? Where is that coming from?
Maybe marketing, the way the advertisement's done, maybe it felt very white, and then some more black people come on and there's some more marketing that feels a bit more in tune with the black community. And so they move over. But I think a lot of it had to do with there's a lot of men on social media, especially at that time. And I don't mean especially, but people are experimenting with it. And all of a sudden you have groups of colleges and younger women. Where are you going? Where did they go? They checked it out, and it was a platform built for more youthful people, and that's what was getting into social media at the time. Now, I was already older, and I was rigid, and I didn't want to make the changes that were happening on Facebook. The changes were more aggressive on Facebook, and I didn't want to do that. And it took me about a year to switch over where I was comfortable being on Facebook. But once Facebook got the market, it changed how the platform worked. I think there is a lot of it's white people, and I don't always say that. I will say white people, I call out white people for their stuff. I don't think that the computer and the algorithm necessarily skewed that you were going to all of a sudden end up in a black neighborhood. It was going to keep you in your white neighborhood. If you're white and you're on it, it's going to keep you in your white neighborhood.
See, I don't know enough about these algorithms and how that whole tech world works to really dive into a debate with you. So you could be right. My only question was, and listen, if I'm being honest, I know sometimes to sit here and act like, oh, that never happens is naively stupid. I know there are sometimes when we play the race card just to be playing the race card. But all I'm saying is, because I don't know, I'm just like, damn, so they just making it up?
I think that it could have felt that way, but I also say that I felt that way because I didn't want to move. I liked MySpace. I was comfortable in MySpace. And all of a sudden, Facebook came up, but Facebook was college-based at first. And they even say that it was college-based. It wasn't accessible if you weren't in a college. And it wasn't. You used to have your email had to be from a college. So that's how you got on Facebook. But when it opened up, people wanted to go back to college. They wanted to be around younger people, youthful people, and that's where the majority of people on social media. It was a big explosion because they were all younger going on social media. Older people, you get into how this works. I mean, I'm much better on a computer now, but I was on MySpace with my one finger going on typing, and I was comfortable in that. And Facebook was a change, but once that change happened. It's funny too because you can see the change and it's in our movies because what's the movie? Is it with Adam Sandler where he thinks he's dying? He's a comic that thinks he's.
I don't know the name of the movie, but I know what you're talking about.
And what's the other dude that's in it? Funny People? Yeah, that's it. Seth Rogen. He's doing a benefit for MySpace. That was like the end. After that, it was even when that movie came out, it was like, hey, Facebook is the new way to go. So it was that you can see it, and this is happening. This happens quickly. It happens quickly in these spaces right now because people migrate quickly. They can change. It would be what is TikTok? Did people go to TikTok because they didn't want black people from Twitter? That everybody migrated to TikTok really quickly.
I kind of fell asleep on it. I was dozing in and out as I tried to watch it on the plane, but I think I'm gonna try to watch it again because I really want to give it a good watch with all my attention because it seemed like a really good movie. And it said it's one of the movies you have to watch when you're trying to learn about entrepreneurship and money and wealth. I never saw The Social Network.
Yeah, it's really good.
Man, it looked, like I said, I was dozing in and out, but from what I caught, I was like, yo, this seemed like the real deal.
Yeah,
so I want to check that out.
It gives you an insight to what was going on. I think it's just a movie, but it gives you an insight to what's going on.
Why don't you like Jemele Hill?
It's not that I don't like her. She's so mad at white people. I feel bad for being white while I'm watching her.
Somebody said she looks like a jack-o'-lantern.
You know what? I'm not going to make fun of her. I
Listen, I know.
I told you before, I thought she was a cute lady at one time. Like when I used to watch
Right.
her, there's something about her that's kind of, I like something about her. I can't tell you what it is. I thought there was something about her.
I know she don't like me. I never met her except for, I never met her officially and was like, hey, how you doing? I never said anything to her. But I was catching a flight back to LA and my connection was in Detroit. And I saw her in Detroit. And we locked eyes, but the look she gave me, like she wanted me to know it was disgust.
Like, don't come say hi?
Yeah. Yeah. You know, listen, I kind of dug what she did with my man. I forget what his name was when she was on ESPN with the dude, the black dude, and they were both, you know, they had the little sports analyst show. Yeah. But I was more of a fan of his and hers, and he knew who I was and was a fan of mine as well. But yeah, some of the times, you know, like with her comments about Caitlin Clark, you know, I just thought were like, you know, she's only where she is because she's white and she's not lesbian. And I don't want to have us drift off into basketball, but so let me just stay on here. But yeah, I'm not a big fan of hers either.
It's not that I like what she as an analyst,
Right.
as a reporter. I think she does her job. I just, like I said, there's points where I'm really enjoying the show, and then the next thing I know, there's like this hard right that comes on, and I'm like, I didn't know I was part of that, but apparently I am part of this. So
Right.
I just kind of started to fall off of her a little bit because of it. But I like the spiciness. I like her passion. I just don't want to always be the one that's getting run over by it.
Right. As I'm watching this, this is my last note for the first episode. They showed a Taco Bell commercial, and Jason Sudeikis is talking to the black folks or something. He says something about the taco, and he goes, "Man, this taco really hits." The equivalent of it slaps.
Yeah.
Can we have anything without y'all taking it, man?
No.
Jesus Christ,
No,
dude.
because it's America, and it's the culture is an American culture. I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. We share the culture.
What do y'all invent?
Us?
Yes.
Here?
Yes.
What do we invent?
What do you invent? What do y'all come up with?
America is about bringing everything here and redistributed it into a new culture. But everyone's culture gets thrown into the pot.
Yeah.
That's America.
Okay.
And they invited, I guess, hot dogs. We invented
German.
No. The hot dog itself is American. Now the sausage is German, but the hot dog is recreated in a different kind of format that is American. That is an American hot dog.
Really?
Yes. Now the idea of it is definitely German. Is
Right.
the sausage, but it's an American. That the hot dog itself is American. No German in Germany is going to hold that thing up and go, "This is ours." They're going to be that's from America.
But the hamburger is German.
The hamburger was here too.
Really?
The hamburger, the way it's created on the bread and everything, yeah, that's American.
Tom Holland. I saw Tom Holland in an interview, and it kind of the same topic.
That Salisbury steak is there. Is
He goes. What's really American? French fries is from France. Hamburger is German.
Chips are from black people in America.
Potato chips.
Potato chips. It was actually a white person who complained that the chip was the potato was too thick, and so the chef cut the cook or the chef cut it really thin, and that's American. The chip.
I believe black people did that because salt.
Yeah, but there's more room for salt.
Yeah. Love that goddamn salt.
It's the redistribution of everything from around the world is America. That's what it was supposed to be. That's all. That's America.
In episode 2, I said it really showed the disconnect between the black community and the white community that Obama mentioned Trayvon, and he caught flack for that from the political white community, whereas black people thanked him for recognizing Trayvon when he said, Trayvon could have been my son. And,
I think I think it's a vocal amount of people that were on there. I think that if this is me. I'm going to speak for myself. I can't speak for that. As a parent, I was glad that he spoke out. As a parent, as a human,
right?
It's a son,
but a black son.
It doesn't make a difference.
Well, no, it does make a difference.
No, it makes it. I'm speaking for me. It doesn't make a difference. It's a young kid who shouldn't have been in that situation. And,
Has any white president ever spoken out when a black child or anybody has been slain?
I don't know.
I don't technically know either, but I don't think so.
I'm sure in some of these mass shootings, they've had to speak out. They had no choice.
Well, no, I'm talking about a singular person.
I honestly don't know.
And because those mass shootings, of course, include whites. So, of course, they're going to speak out.
Yeah.
Because they have to, based on the enormity of the tragedy.
Yeah.
But also because, it's white kids. I'm talking about a single black child.
I have no idea, but I don't think so.
Okay. And again, what I took from that was disturbing was the fact that the political community gave Obama shit for that.
Well, the amplification over a social media and the people that are allowed to speak. This is the very difficult thing about it. Who are the people that yell out their frustrations in the air to nobody to air their grievances?
The people without a voice.
But are they the people that should represent you? I don't know that those people represented me. I know they didn't represent me. Let me rephrase it in my own personal state. It didn't represent me.
Right.
Now, you could say there's multiple sides. You could say however you wanted to go about it. It was still a young man that lost his life. And if a president wants to speak out about a situation that we know there's issues with, I had no problem with it. And especially a president who represented, whether he was the president for all people or not, his face represents a group of people in this country. And I think that he owed it to speak out. It should have been. And I don't think there was anything wrong with it. But then again, it's me, and I don't know who the people are that spoke out against it. And then there's the political pundits on that other side too. And you know what? If they're going to talk about his tan suit, of course they're going to talk about that. And this is why I don't appreciate politics. This is why I hate politics. And this is what I feel is a major problem with our country. And I really feel like there needs to be some term limits. I don't need to see a guy who has one idea, and because everybody knows his name, he gets elected every year for his lifetime. We need some changes in that area, but that's has nothing to do with what we're talking about. It's just something I feel. So I put it out there. I felt he had every right to speak. I don't know who the people were speaking as. I wish some people wouldn't have access to a keyboard. And I think some politicians should be more measured in how they react immediately.
Trump said on Bill O'Reilly that the term Black Lives Matter is divisive. So to the black people that support Trump, tell me why again.
Well, this is the reaction, okay? And I'm gonna put this out there for everyone. Without context, it's understood in the black community what it is. Without context, it is divisive.
In what way?
Just the same way Trump's "Make America Great Again" is divisive. When was America great again? That's
never.
But America had greatness. It was seen around the world as this place that you could go and you could come from nothing and you could become something. You could do. So yes, there was greatness in it if you take it from what.
All right, I'll give you that. But where's the great? What's Give me the Black Lives Matter out of context.
Out of context is all lives matter, which we have to understand. In context, it doesn't mean that other lives don't matter. It means that if there's a house on fire, all the houses on the block matter, but we need to put the one out that's on fire. That wasn't understood. And then you have white people, meaningful white people. What's his name? Who's the he's the Jewish guy. Give me some help. Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders had said, all lives matter. White people weren't ready for that, how that was said, and to remove themselves from the equation. They weren't ready for it. They didn't hear it that way. They heard it as Black Lives Matter. Don't we all matter? We all matter. Because the idea of the liberals, especially in the liberal side, is that we're all the same. We're all coming together.
You don't have to be a rocket science to understand. If you know where it's coming from, if you know the history.
They didn't.
Okay, but they didn't, not because they didn't, because they don't want to know.
No,
they don't want to know.
No,
Andy, you can tell in the
You're telling me that Bernie Sanders is that guy?
Forget Bernie Sanders.
But he's important to that.
Okay, but what I'm saying is the people that are in those rallies that are saying, you can hear it in their tone, you can hear it in their delivery, you could see it in their eyes when they go, "All lives matter." They're not coming from where Bernie's coming from.
No, but I'm saying Bernie is a touchstone. If that guy got it wrong,
okay, so
other people are going to get it wrong.
What I'm saying to you is, let's go to the source. When Donald Trump says it, it's divisive. This is the dog whistle to his people to go, yeah, because our leader said it don't matter. The same guy that is deemed a racist, and rightly so in certain aspects because of things he's done and said, that's all we need. And that's dangerous.
It is dangerous. But I think I would like to say that I don't know how much is his stupidity and how much is his dog whistle.
Both.
But they're both dangerous. That's what we can say.
Tomato. Yeah. We know what it is.
But that's why I think he can still get support, because people can have plausible deniability on it. You asked me. I gave you the answer. I wasn't saying that I agree with everything that I just said.
Okay.
I'm giving you the answer.
My one and only note for episode 3. I told you I didn't have much. And I thought this was kind of funny since we're talking about Trump. When he was being asked a question by the reporter during COVID, and Trump said, "I can't hear you. Please take down your mask." And the reporter responded, "I'll just talk louder." To which Trump responded, "Okay, you just want to be politically correct. Go." I'm like, what a douchebag.
Well, you say that, and I'm not saying at that time, I don't think that there's a problem wearing a mask if you felt that it helped you in a crowd, in a group like that. But as we find out later, the mask wasn't helping anything. If some things, it was making it worse. So, I don't. This is the problem with Trump for me. How much information did he know that we didn't know?
He knew enough to tell us to drink bleach.
No, he didn't say drink bleach. He said he said
he suggested.
No, he said that bleach, that it can kill. It kills things. He wasn't saying take shots of bleach. People were dumb enough to do that on their own. He didn't say drink it. Do what he's doing. Did you see him with a glass of bleach? If he came out and he had a glass of bleach and he said, "Let me show you what we're doing,"
but when it was
I'm gonna stick a light up my ass.
But when it was also dangerous for whatever that event was, for him to look up into the sun, he did that.
Because he's an idiot.
Okay, then that's why I'm saying check the source.
Yeah. I'm not. Listen.
If you go, he didn't actually say drink bleach, but he's saying that bleach can. Why even mention it then? What is the use of mentioning bleach?
Here's the thing that I think this is about Trump. This is me, and this is what I think happens with this guy. And I'm really serious, because I've worked with people that have a good income and that they're in positions of power. And I've worked with these people, and they have this mind that works weird. But I think this is what happens. I think he goes into a meeting and they go, "Well, we're doing significant things, and we know that COVID can be killed by a drop of bleach can kill COVID." And he'll go, "A drop of bleach can kill COVID." And we're finding out that the UV lights kills COVID. And and he goes, "UV light. I mean, you stick the light in the blood, it'll kill it." And then we use UV lights now. We use them on escalators, and we put it on because it kills it from the touch. All that's true, but I think that when people like him hear it, and he goes, "All right, bleach, dropping bleach." Well, we're doing some very interesting things, and bleach. We found bleach, kill COVID if we can figure out a way to get the bleach in. And then he was talking about the light, how we can get the light in. I don't know what he was talking about. I don't think he knew what he was talking about.
Then shut the f up.
Yeah, but that's where let's be honest. What's Donald Trump's the worst part of Trump is that he doesn't ever stop talking. If Trump would have enacted his policies, and this is when you said, why do they still go with him, is because everything that he said is coming to fruition. The border is the problem. That is a major problem. The TikTok, Biden is admitting that it's a problem now, when everybody was like, "Oh, he's just doing it because it's Chinese." No, it was a problem, and they're being able to siphon all the information off of people in this country from it, because they don't have the same regulations our country has. So the government gets all that information. So these are true. Now, tariffs, Biden's talking about upping tariffs. What did they say about Trump the whole time when he was putting out tariffs? This is going to be bad for the economy. It actually ruins the economy. Again, I said this last time. I said I voted for not Biden, but I voted for the media because I want the media to hold Biden as accountable as they held Trump. And did they? No. They rewrote the narrative every time. So when you say, again, why would black people support Trump? That's why. Because it's his what he wanted to accomplish, the things that he talked about, they put into the negative in the media. And when Biden does it, they either don't address it or they make it a positive. This is a problem. Our media is controlled by, and this is where the genius of George Carlin comes in. George Carlin said they don't all have to be on the payroll. They just have to all go to the same college, attend the same parties, have the same friends, and keep the same ideology. And that's all you need to do to make the change. And that's where we are. So Trump is the opposite of that. And that's what it is about. And this is what it is. Do you want to go down this road that we're going, or do you want a disruptor to come in and maybe up so much? And he might up a ton of shit, but will it take it in a different direction? Because we found out that 4 years of him, even with a pandemic that shut down the world, he still didn't. America kept going. So that's the question. Do you need a disruptor? This is really the question of this.
But back to the reporter though for a second. And listen, I saw a thing where Piers Morgan was going back and forth with Candace Owen because she suggested that the vaccine saved no lives. And Piers Morgan's argument to her was, for you to sit there and say it saved no lives is ridiculous. It saved some lives.
It saved some lives. And it's going to take some lives going forward.
So I'm saying with the Trump thing, when you go, well, it turns out that the mask was somewhat harmful. Okay, but at that moment,
and I agree with you,
in terms of what the country was going through, be a leader.
Yeah.
Even if you're right and we're all wrong, at that moment, nobody knew what was what. But be a leader, because when you do that, again, you're sending the wrong kind of signals.
Well, and I'm not disagreeing with that. In that large group, and I said this as I prefaced it with that, in a large group, when there's a lot of people around, yeah, wear the mask, because even if it doesn't have the ultimate fighting power, you may have a pre-existing condition. You may have something you don't even know about, and you're in tight quarters. So yes, the mask can have a little bit of prevention. I don't have a problem with that. But at the same time, I'm driving down the road and I see people in their car by themselves wearing masks. That's ridiculous. Yeah. So it was oversold and then undersold. We just had a guy that was in office who undersold it, who probably could have done a better job. But again, what information was he privileged to that he knew that mask wasn't that effective? And that's a big problem. Now, also, that guy, one of the worst things that could have happened, and I know this sounds terrible as I'm going to say it to people who love Trump, he got COVID and he lived. No, and I mean that in the way that he got COVID, he lived. So everything he's saying, the boisterous thing, you can beat it. He might as well have said,
you can beat COVID. It's very beatable. I did it.
I'm fat. I'm old. I eat cheeseburgers every day long.
Kentucky Fried Chicken.
And I beat COVID. It wasn't. And then he has that attitude that goes with it. So yes, I see all the problems that you're saying, but on the other hand, he also was fat. He ate at McDonald's every day, and he's old, and he beat it. So you can't. The pendulum in this thing, with right or what was right or wrong in this pandemic, is still swinging. And some people hit me up and go, Andy, see, now look at it. You took the vaccine. Don't you regret it now? And I'm like, no, because I was able to travel. I was able to continue to make a living. Yeah, if you didn't need it and you weren't affecting anybody, great. Good for you. And I'm not mad at you, but it made my life easier. And I know we're still going to lose people. People are going to have reactions to that vaccine. The idea was, did it help more people than it hurt? I'm saying that's a decision you make based on your doctor, yourself, and your personal beliefs on what is best for you, your family, and the community. But that is not, more research is out there. We still have things that we don't know. I don't know, man. I don't know. All I know is I can tell you he had more information. But he was being political to say, well, pull it down. I can't hear you. This was all a setup. I mean, he wanted to make the guy feel it. He might as well have said, instead of saying, oh, You want to be politically correct? I would have rather him said, so you want to be a That would have sounded more like Trump at that moment.
You want to be a busy, fine, be a
That would have been right.
I know what I know. I'm ready to talk about Brat Pack.
All right. Now, that was it? That's all you had on
That's
it?
all I had,
You know,
man.
I have one more comment, though, because then they said a lot of 3 is about Elon Musk, about losing. But listen, Twitter wasn't created for black folks. Black folks have...
Nothing ever is created for black folks.
Exactly. So if you're
But we know how to take something and turn that out.
So the same thing's going to happen now. I understand the fear. I know what's happening at Twitter itself, but he fired everybody. And he doesn't feel this is important. But the people, I know maybe not the people working there aren't there, but the people, the community itself, the black community, that's what really made Black Twitter, and that is not going away. So,
well, I have yet to see black people's imprint on Twitter X the way it was on Twitter.
Yeah, I think it is going to be a lot different.
And I think here's where we missed the boat. It's called X.
Yeah.
Put some Malcolm on it, man.
I sent him a logo. I sent Twitter a logo.
Right.
I never got anything back, but because the media refused to call it X and they kept calling X formerly Twitter.
Right.
I did this logo where it was the bird. It said Twitter in the old one,
right.
And then the bird, and then I put the X over the bird, so it was Twitter X.
Right.
And Twitter X sounds like a Malcolm X.
Right.
And I thought, man, that would work for Black Twitter too. But no one's ever picked up on my humor. That's why I'm an opener.
As I was watching this Brat Pack, at first I said this to myself, but then it wasn't until I finished watching it that it made me change my viewpoint. Because from what I knew going in, I just knew here's a group of young actors, all in their 20s, all successful, super famous, making money. This is one of those good problems to have.
Yeah.
It's like you're complaining, but you're a movie star, you're young, you're vibrant, you got money. But then once I watched it, I went, I kind of see where...
Yeah, but I fall back into I went through what you went through. I felt that, but I also went through it, and I came out the other end, and I was like, they were wrong.
They were wrong?
Yeah, they were wrong.
Okay.
And I'll explain it at the end why I feel that way. And I think he feels that way at the end when he wasn't.
I don't think he does. Andrew McCarthy.
Yeah, not that they were wrong, but they could have looked at it differently.
I think what was interesting was Rob Lowe and Demi Moore's outlook on it couldn't be more positive.
Right.
I felt where he was trying to embrace what they were saying and maybe turn his thought process around. But I think he still felt, especially after he met with the writer who wrote it, I still felt some this from him.
Yeah. Yeah, The scene, we're jumping far ahead, but the scene where he meets with the writer is that's the impressive scene to me. And that's the thing of the movie. Except I don't want to go too far, but the end makes me wish there was more. But go ahead, let's
Right.
go on.
And it's funny. They said in the 80s was the time when actors, so the boom for young actors to be represented started in the 80s. They said it had never been done before. So I'm like, so prior to the 80s, the industry just didn't give a shit about the youth?
Well,
the 70s, the 60s, the 50s?
They did, because there were all those like Hawaiian luau movies with Frankie Avalon, but they were like beach bingo blanket.
Yeah.
They were those
but
kind of
wasn't
movies.
a real representation of young angst.
Yeah, but no, it wasn't young angst. Well, and this is I have a whole different take on this. And I have a different take on that writer. And I have something that I feel is completely missed in what that is. This is what's missing here. We're talking about the industry, right? And these teens, and it's focused on them because they're this group that they're going to make. It's going to go to the movies. Yeah. There's malls. They talk about the malls. Yep. The teens, they have money, and they're coming to the movies, and they make this big. But look at what the teens are at that time. This is my group, so I know what this group is. There's the baby boomers. There's the people who and the older generation.
That's
the greatest generation is
70s. Baby boomers.
Baby boomers are end in 64. They're so 70. So whatever that is. 55 through 64, 50, whatever it is. And then the greatest generation before. They were in wars. They were in World War I, World War II. And then this is the generation of people. When you talk about a life that's hard, they went to war. They all kinds of angst of going through the country, the divisiveness in the country, what they went through. Then you go, then after that, you have that Vietnam War that comes over, divides the country. It was an angsty time. That's that's the end of that baby boomer generation there with the Vietnam War. You have all these people. So you have these war generations, the Vietnam War, the divisiveness, these horrible things that are going on in the world, in the country, and we're all going through it. And then you get to us, the baby boomers, and we're the ones that, because of all the things that happened in these previous years, we're the generation that has access, money, development, malls. It's set up perfectly for us. And what's our angst? These movies are being made from what dad doesn't love me enough. There's some Richie. What is in the Breakfast Club? The Richies versus the nerds. These are the problems. These are the problems that are being handled in these movies. And you're looking at them, and from the perspective of, they are brats, because it's not just them. It's not just them. It's the generation of the brats, because we didn't have the angst. We didn't go through the pain. We just got all the reward from all this horrible shit that's happened for all these generations to get to where we are, where we were the BMW generation. We were the do it up nice, having the nice designer clothes. What were designer clothes before that?
I think what you're missing, and it doesn't matter what generation it was or what era, the things that these movies were showing in terms of angst is the awkwardness of not fitting in, being different, puberty, sex. In whatever decade you talk about, that's always existed.
Yeah, but if you go to the Hollywood generation and the people writing these articles and the people that are running the magazines and that are older generation, and they're like, they don't fit in. No. That's their problem. They don't fit in. We had to go kill people. We had to go across. We had to save the world.
Every older generation will always pick on the newer generation and go, we had it worse.
But my dad doesn't give me enough attention. My dad was an alcoholic and beat me because he had PTSD from the war. They didn't call it that. They called it shell shocked. That's the people that are running the world, and they're looking at us, the brats, as this other group of people. Yes, I understood what it was. I think there's a disconnect there when they weren't looking at how the perception of the whole generation is looked at. And they were just the leaders. They were the poster to put on that face, the Brat Pack. And that's why it resonated so well, because they had the Rat Pack, the cool guys, the ones that were cool, the ones that...
Hey, baby.
Yeah, they went through it. They went through war. They're in movies of wartime.
I literally went through it, babe. I have one eye because it was poked out by a...
And then this generation, they're looking at it. The people that are running are looking at them.
But you don't think a little bit, because look, you and I, especially me, I'm always on the ass of this young generation in terms of social media, they this, they that, these young kids don't blah, 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 blah. So doesn't it feel like that's just tradition for every older group to go the young group?
No, but I do that joke where and I haven't done it in a while, but where I talk about how we're this baby boomer, us, the Gen X, we're the worst generation. We're the worst because the only thing we take credit for, and I say this, is normalizing tattoos and professional pickleball and bags. That's what we have. That's what did we go through? This is a younger generation, which I do think is really odd. But they're going through a social revolution. They're going through some other things that are happening. We didn't go through that. We got the BMWs. We got the fancy cars. We got Ralph Lauren and popped up collars.
Who the is we, nigga?
Yeah, well, I'm saying
I didn't get none of that shit.
I didn't either, but I saw it everywhere.
Oh, okay.
I got a pair of Sperry topsiders when I was in high school that were $50, and I thought my parents won the lottery and got me something amazing. Yeah, I do think that they were the poster children of that idea, and yet they took it because the guy who writes the article sees them, and where's he coming from? His dad is from the older generation. His dad was in Apocalypse Now. We're talking about someone who's went through a tougher generation, and it's basically handed to him. And that's the brats.
But where I totally agree with the feelings of Andrew McCarthy and Molly Ringwald and Judd Nelson and some of them that took it kind of hard was that you created something that hurt their careers in a sense.
But because they took it personal. And I don't know.
No. It's not about them not taking it personal. Emilio Estevez had the great line where he says to him, Steven Spielberg is not going to call somebody from the Brat Pack. And so that when you and Judd Nelson alluded to, when you demean our talent to being fluff and we don't take our craft serious by labeling us that, then you're putting us in a position where the industry may look at us that way, and now it's harder for us to get work.
Yeah, but who holds out? Demi Moore worked past
You know, here's one of my questions I was going to ask you. Well, when you say, because I was like, yo, of the Brat Pack, who's going on to become the biggest star? Demi Moore. Rob Lowe had a window, but really Demi Moore. So I was like, I wonder why is it one person may have graduated and the others didn't.
Yeah, but I think I think there is what you're saying is true as well. But I think St. Elmo's Fire, that movie, when they're all in the Jeep, and that's the bulk of them. That's them. That's them.
It's 7 people.
That's them.
Yeah, that's them.
Yeah, that became the face of it, and you get tied up in the face of that. And yeah, it hurt, and it could have hurt, but they let it hurt because when you see Andrew McCarthy talking to Emilio Estevez and said it's the best movie. They're talking about a movie that they didn't do because it was the best movie ever, that was written well. They wanted to do it, and it was supposed to be Emilio Estevez and Andrew McCarthy. And Emilio Estevez said no because he didn't want another movie with those two because it was, you know what? The idea was about the work. So if people are still trying to give you the work and you can prove that you're better actors, you ran from a way to prove that you were the better actor.
Yeah, that's, I hear what you're saying. And in theory, you might be right.
Because you're in the moment, it's hard to see.
Yes.
But
that's a very scary place to be in.
Because you're in the moment. But I think if they wouldn't have taken it personal, and I think that's something that's where Demi Moore talks about it, Rob Lowe talks about it that way. It wasn't personal.
Dude, sometimes I just wonder why people's lives turn out the way they do. Because it was like, I like who I can't remember the girl's name, but when they showed like John Cryer and they showed the one girl who was in Back to the Future, and then they mentioned Tom Cruise, Matt Dillon, and they go, obviously Tom Cruise, megastar, one of the biggest in the business, been around 40 years. And I go, how some people's careers where it's like he goes from Risky Business to Top Gun and the rest is history. Why can't a Andrew McCarthy or Rob Lowe or anybody else have that kind of trajectory?
Well, what if they would have made that great movie that they're talking about? What if they would have defined their career? Because that people would have said, oh, I don't care what that writer said. These guys are the real deal. This is a great movie. You make decisions based on what someone else wrote about you and not about what you were. They ran from it. They could have leaned into it. Dean Martin is not a drunk. Those were things he was drinking iced tea. He leaned into. He's a drunk. He leaned into it.
I didn't know that.
He made a career out of it.
That was iced tea?
Yes, that's iced tea. I don't say he didn't drink. I'm just saying on the show, he's a professional. That's iced tea.
Yeah. Oh.
He leaned into it. They ran away from it. That was... sometimes you got to look at it and go, is this the worst thing or is this the opportunity? But when you're young and you're called a brat and that makes you feel like a brat and it says everything's being handed to you, you're not that great of an actor. You have two choices. One is to grab your nut or your vagina, whatever one you want to grab,
or both,
and walk out there and go, I'm going to show you what a great actor I am.
Right.
Or you go, I'm going to make decisions not with these guys because I don't want anybody to think we're leaning on this, and so you don't get as good of a movie. That right there, that moment where they're both talking about it and they both know that they gave up on a great project is what shows me that effect of the name was so, it was so painful for them that they walked away from what could have made them even bigger stars.
And part of what that pain is, and I had it in my note, is when people go, they're on the talk shows, they're doing the late night talk shows, and they showed the clip with them on Donahue, and they're like, people have this assumption that we make cookies together, we hang out together, we go to the beach together, we do things together, when really that's not the case. And I went, dude, I said, it's amazing how much, and I felt this because not on that level, but I still have had to do this. When I go, it's amazing how much you have to take on your way through in Hollywood via late night interviews to keep Frankenstein's monster alive. They all hated the dumb Brat Pack questions, but had to answer them. So it's like there's this brand called the Brat Pack. You got to sell a movie. You got to go on Conan. You got to do Donahue. And they ask these stupid questions. And you could just see, especially on Molly Ringwald's face when she did Conan, when he asked her, so do you guys blah, 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 together? The pain of having to answer this question that she doesn't want to answer, but she's got to.
Yeah, but here's the thing, and this is what would happen with maturity. You know, you hear about this, especially soap opera stars get this a lot. Where there's people that have been slapped and said, I hated what you did to so-and-so. And then they go, you know, that's not really me. They go, I know, but you did it. You know, like you
mean the fictitious slap?
Yeah. No. They actually have slapped people and they go, what you did to so-and-so.
Let me understand. During the scene?
No, like they'll be walking, they'll go out somewhere and have lunch, and people have slapped soap opera stars.
Really?
Yeah, saying that what you did to and here's the thing that I would have wanted to say. Would I have said it if I was in their situation? No, probably not, because I wasn't old enough, I wasn't mature enough, and I'm running from something. But if you're not running from it, and Conan says, yeah, do you hang out together? He goes, you know, that's why it's so funny to me when that article came out and said that we're such lazy actors and we're not good. We have you believe that we all hang out and make popcorn and have pillow fights together. I haven't talked to anybody in 2 years, but you believe it because we presented it to you in a way that was unbelievable.
Right.
And what do you say then? Where does that... Oh man, these are great actors. I really felt like they were friends. Like they'd be, and the reason it makes me mad is because, and the reason it makes me mad, and they should have ran away from it, is everyone in my age group wanted to be part of the Brat Pack.
It's the angst of youth. But you want to be with the cool kids.
But we wanted to be they were all different kids. We wanted to run. We wanted to be part of that, and wanting to be part of that, if they would have been able to see that everybody around them was not affected the same way that they were. Of course they weren't involved, but if they would have saw that the desire to be that, I think they would have been a little bit different. And, you know, there was the other lady who talked to them, whether it was a manager or whatever, that said, no, we saw it as a great thing.
Yeah, that's the one he hugged. Andrew Cryer hugged. Yeah.
And that's where they were off. But other people, you know,
but there were also some other talent people, be it producers or whatever, that worked with them that said, I hated that for you. Yeah. I hated what that did to you guys.
Well, they hated what it did to them. They, at that moment, they probably didn't know what it was going to do to that to them. You know, there was options. But here's the other thing I wanted to say about that because of this whole thing. Do you know who, what's her name? Mary Winningham is? No. You don't know who? Marie Winningham.
No.
She's the blonde chick that he has that Rob Lowe has the sexual encounter with in
on the videotape?
In St. Elmo's Fire.
I never saw St. Elmo's Fire.
That's her.
Okay.
She's not in it. They didn't call her.
But why would they?
She was in the movie. She was in St. Elmo's Fire. She's one of the people in the Jeep.
No, she wasn't in the Jeep. No. It was the Brat Pack. Ali Sheedy, Demi Moore, Molly Ringwald.
She's right back there. There she is. That's her head back there. She's in the scene in the Jeep. She's riding in the Jeep with them all. She's part of the.
They ain't called it because she in the back.
Yeah. How do you think she would like to be part of it?
Of course.
Okay.
They alluded to John Cryer. You saw him when they interviewed him when he was young, and he said, "Yeah, I don't really like." He didn't care, but he cared. Again, I don't know. I'm going to say Caroline Ray, but I know that's wrong. Whoever the mom was in Back to the Future that played Michael J's mom in it. Yeah, she said, I was Brat Pack adjacent. So,
because she was in all those movies.
Yeah, so, and that's, again, when they alluded to during that era, yeah, you had Michael J. Fox, you had Tom Cruise. And again, when you look at Michael J. Fox, especially Tom Cruise, Kevin Bacon, they alluded to. Why did some people's careers take off in ways that theirs didn't? And was that because of the Brat Pack?
Because they're the poster child of the Brat Pack. I think they all are adjacent,
Right.
but this was the face that was captured in
Right.
it. And so that's what got labeled in it. And because they were the ones that were around him when that article was written out,
Right.
and because they ran from it. Tom Cruise did not run from shit. He had the Scientology group putting it right in front of everything. He didn't run from anything. Kevin Bacon did not run from anything.
But they didn't have any labels either to run from.
John Cryer did. Because he was in Pretty in Pink, and his career didn't blossom right away either because of that. Maybe because of that. Who knows? But Molly Ringwald, you thought she was going to do, but this is the other hard part.
Molly Ringwald just felt so 80s.
She did, and that's
along
another
with Anthony Michael Hall.
That's another part of it, though. And Anthony Michael Hall is definitely Brat Pack, but he wasn't in that, so his picture isn't there,
right.
And he doesn't look. He could continue because he doesn't look anything like he did when he was back then. But Molly Ringwald, young childhood actors, even though they weren't children, but they changed their look. They were so iconic for that time. Right. Sometimes they don't transition well. And that's part of it, but I think that they ran from it. I think if they would, and it's easy for me to say because I'm looking back. But I still think Andrew McCarthy and Emilio Estevez make that movie. They're both good. Andrew McCarthy's a really good actor, and Emilio Estevez obviously he comes from an acting family and is really good. You make that movie and you make it great. Now that writer looks like a douchebag. You kind of gave it to the writer. You ran from what he said. You didn't lean into it and go, I'm going to show you how good of an actor I am.
Yeah, I think you can't put enough emphasis on being young and that time. And when you're young and you care about your career or wanting to have one, it's everything to you. That's why I love when Demi Moore said she was going through a health situation and the person said, "What's more important, your health or the movie?" She said, "The movie." That's Hollywood. That's life-changing. That's millions of dollars. That's fame, wealth.
Well, Jim Carrey,
adulation.
Jim Carrey says it too. And I think this is it. When you're young, you get the attention. You're in the movies. You surpassed everybody that you started with, and now you're in these movies. And you're a John Hughes movie too. And he's going to have hit after hit, and he's making you famous. And Jim Carrey talked about when you're in it. You can't get off the ride. Don't get off the bus. If you get off the bus, you don't know if there's another one coming. Right. And these guys were looking at it as, hey, someone crashed their bus. Right. And they should have said, no, the bus has a flat tire. We're going to pump that back up. We'll get back on the road. They should have embraced it.
Well, it's like, into what Demi Moore said, it's like, I forget what the percentages are, but I remember when I talked to Barry Katz, I think one of the last times I went to Montreal, and he was like, "Hey man, you've been on more than one TV show. Most people go their whole careers, never do it. You've been on two. You're very lucky." And so it's like, it's very hard to get work in Hollywood. The percentages for actors making it are low, let alone a career. You may book a job here, an episodic there, maybe a small part in the movie, but a career, those percentages are low, man. Yeah. That's why when she went, my health or the movie. Dude, how hot was a young Ali Sheedy?
Yeah, she was hot.
She was hot, man.
You know what though? I know she's not what your idea of hot is, but even
facially, absolutely.
But even as an older woman,
nah.
No, she's wearing weird glasses.
I didn't like it. Older woman, I didn't like it.
She's 60 years old.
The milk spoiled.
She's 60 years old.
I know, but Angela Bassett is 60 years old.
It's not bad.
It's tight as leather.
She's a quirky older lady in New York. I didn't have a problem with her.
And Demi Moore, I know some of Demi's surgery though, but she's still, I'll give it a banging.
Dude, I'm really frustrated with Hollywood in the idea that women and men have worked that hard to because they don't want to be left behind. But
it's the work.
There's something graceful about aging and being.
But not everybody ages gracefully.
No, Katharine Hepburn didn't age necessarily gracefully, but she aged in her age and she got roles for
there is something graceful in the nobility of aging gracefully, accepting it. But that don't mean you physically age gracefully.
I understand that, but I said this, Robert Redford. He not only aged gracefully, he leaned into it. That man does not. He was an icon of a
Right.
He is weathered.
Let me tell you something, dude. I saw on Instagram, I guess it was Shelley Duvall's daughter. And she was next to her mom. I didn't even know that was her mom until I read the caption and it said Shelley Duvall. Andy, oh my God. You know she was in Popeye, right?
Yeah.
It looked like Popeye ate 10 cans of spinach and beat her up.
Dude,
it was bad, Andy.
Listen. Kudos to the ones that don't do that. I don't know why, but like I said, Robert Redford, he looks weathered, but you know he's aging in his gracefulness. He is who he is, and I appreciate that. I look at I'm happy to be me, but I see the weather. I see the thing happen in my eye right here.
Right.
What am I going to do?
Incidentally, I saw your post where you said, "Happy Father's Day to all the fathers that raised." Seeing you that young is crazy. Like I could see what
that isn't even that young.
You had white in your beard, but you still had patches of deep black.
That isn't even that long ago. Did you read the thing I put after it though?
No.
Open it up. Open it up.
I'd have to go to your page because I'd have to go to your page.
Here, I'll do it real quick. Well, here I'll just tell you what it says.
Yeah.
I put in. A lot of you are going to ask where's Ary Spears in these pictures. Or because I put pictures of some of the guys that I idolized or like looked up to, and I go, he's not my dad, he's my brother.
Yeah. Steve, give me some 80s sitcom.
Yeah. I put that in there because I was like, I know people are going to ask me, but I don't look at you as my dad. I'm like, I don't go drinking with my dad and looking at girls.
Yeah. Plus, if I was your dad, I'd have beat your ass a couple of times just because I was drinking. You know, something that the guy said, one of the guys that he was talking to that I thought was so great, you know, and this is where, again, I'm going to knock the youth a little bit. I hate that there's no mystique anymore when it comes to the youth. Because I don't think the kids should have this much accessibility this soon because they don't know how to handle it responsibly. When he goes, you know, back in the 80s, this is when malls became a big thing.
Yeah.
And teens would go to the mall, hang out at the mall, buy tickets to movies, stand in line for the tickets to go to the movies. Whereas now, everything's on your phone. You just click this button and you can get it online and you don't have to do this and you don't have to. And I know to some people, they may go, well, that's stupid. Why would you want to wait in line? Why would you want to gather somewhere? And you're missing it.
It's commitment.
It's the experience.
Yeah.
It makes you.
You go to the mall, you meet your friends, you get there early, you get the tickets, you
steal some.
You go to the food court,
Yeah.
you have something to eat. There was an experience. It had texture.
Yes.
Life does not have any texture anymore other than a keyboard.
There you go. And that's why it's like when people might go, oh, what you guys did in your day was prehistoric. No, go outside. Put the Xbox controller down, the PS5. Go in the woods.
Hey.
Say hello to Rand. Do something.
No, everything that is happening, and because I experience everything that happens with only a few of your senses. What does everything that you do now smell like? A computer. It doesn't have, we have scent. Man, you go, what did you do? You went to the theater, you're standing there in line, and you're like, damn, I'm hungry. Can you smell that hot dog on a stick coming from over there? Right. Can you, I want to get something to eat. Hey, well, you got to wait in line. Well, wait for me. I'll go get a slice of pizza. We'll eat a pizza while we're, There was an emotion. There was other things that happened with it, a smell. I shop on Amazon all the time because I don't want to go to the store. You know what? How much you miss those? Like I went to the mall the other day to go get something, and there's these popcorn stores that open. You know I love popcorn. Yeah. I smelled that popcorn. I was like, oh, I'm in the mall. That smell, that popcorn. Dude, I miss that, and we're so disconnected from it. And the work that you had to do, man. When I was a kid, I didn't have a car when I was even in high school. I didn't have a car till I think my senior year. I had to get on a bus. I had to work to go see something that was special.
Right.
And it made it more special when you got it. There's nothing special about just walking in, showing your phone, clicking that and go sit in your seat and having someone bring you the popcorn.
Well, my dad gave me no more than $5 and said, go to the mall, which meant I was going to the arcade. $5 worth of quarters between Double Dragon, Kung Fu, what's some of the other games I used to play?
I'm a Missile Command, but I'm a lot older than you.
Okay, Street Fighter, Missile Command, Centipede, Donkey Kong. What was the one game? You
Asteroids,
remember?
Defender.
I hated Asteroids. What was the one game where you built the burger? Remember that?
Yeah, no, I don't remember.
Well,
the name.
whatever
That's
was
after me. That's after
the
me.
game where you had bike handles and the paper
Yeah.
boy, like all of that, and your friends got with you. Oh goodness, that was a day.
Yeah, because that's where you said to your parents, instead of going to a house, you're like, we're gonna go meet up at the mall, and then your parents would say, "Well, be home before whatever the time was," and then you came home later and you got your ass beat.
Yes. You know, they showed the movie that I guess Demi Moore did with Joel Schumacher. And I told you when I first got to LA, I met with Joel Schumacher because they were contemplating the next Batman movie, which I think he directed. I think he did the one that destroyed the franchise with George Clooney.
With the nipples.
With the nipples. But they contemplated making Robin black. And I met with Joel Schumacher to possibly audition to be a black Robin. Needless to say, they kept him white. But yeah, that's one of those, wow, could you imagine?
Yeah, how different would your career be? It could be ended at that moment.
You might be right. Yeah, you might be right. Because I'm a black Robin and because it was Joel Schumacher.
Do you think they would have put a big, it's called a cock piece. Do you think they would have put a bigger one? Because those were pretty big ones they put on there.
Yeah.
Would you ask for a bigger one?
It would probably be like a cucumber piece that goes from the knee to the groin. And then this, and I had this question for you, and the rest of these are really just two questions and a comment. I was going to ask, what did you think of the meeting between that writer and Andrew McCarthy? Because I like when the writer goes, you know, Woody Allen said, as far as this business, hey man, I'm just in it for the Knicks tickets. And Andrew kind of took offense to that. Like, well, you know, okay, but I'm in it for much more than that.
Well, I think that's the juxtaposition at the time, though, too, and hearing that, because that's how that writer made them sound. They're in it for the fame. They're not really interested in working hard. And then you hear it's just about the Knicks tickets. That's almost opposite of what they were running from.
Yeah.
And the industry has always embraced that that's what you're doing. For the greats. The greats get to be that person. And they ran from it. And so I think that I don't think he's dealt with it completely, because I'm really feeling like I liked him. I identified with him. He's the kind of guy that was the quiet in the roles. He's the quieter one. He's the one who, you know, he looked like he tried a little bit, but never really was like, he wasn't ever the upper echelon of the guys. He was he was the cooler. He was kind of like the everyman. Man, yeah. Yeah. And I really identified with him. Right. And so I identified with his character. I don't know about him as a person, but I saw that and I feel like he's still dealing with that, and he doesn't need to do anything. He can do whatever he wants to do. It seems like he has a decent life. But you can't, he's talking to that guy, and I saw the frustration, and then I saw the relaxation, and then back to the frustration, and then back and forth with it. Right. And I really like the point where they made is that guy was in the same place. He was only a few years older than them, and he's just trying to get his next job.
But it felt like when he had his meeting with him, now that guy is older, there was a little bit of remorse from him. There was a little bit where he said, maybe I did things that I should have been condoned for. And even when they showed a clip of them on Donahue with the New York Magazine guy, and he said, I want to apologize for some of what has happened in my profession. And Ali Sheedy and the rest of them applauded like, thank you. Whereas when they show the interview with the guy younger, he comes off like a dick. Yeah. Like he purposely wanted to be a dick to them.
Well, he said it. He goes, they looked at me as their friend, and they know that I'm not their friend. But then I go to that movie Almost Famous. Do you know the movie Almost Famous?
I saw it. That was the Cameron Crowe movie.
Yeah, and that's where he goes, you're the enemy. You're not the friend. You know, the writer for Cameron Crowe was for writing for Rolling Stone, and the music guys are like, you're the enemy. You are the critic. You're the writer for the music, and you're the industry. And and they even said, I think Rob Lowe said it, and Emilio, he is the enemy.
See, this is where I disagree, because now technically, yeah, you're right. He has a job to do, But there are writers who, out of respect for you, take a liking to you and give you the respect you deserve in the piece that they write. Whether it's a writer in terms of whatever, music, comedy, sports. You know, Howard Cosell was a journalist, but he respected the shit out of Muhammad Ali. So much so that he went, I'm never going to call you Cassius because I know Muhammad's your name.
Yeah, but
where other people wouldn't give him that respect.
But this was also a younger man. He was trying to get his next job.
He was a dick.
Here's the thing, though. You could say he's a dick. I wouldn't disagree with that. But here's the other side of it. If he would have been wise past his age and said, you know, these are talented guys. Yeah, they're goofy guys. They're getting drunk. They're having a good time. But these are stars. I'm gonna write a piece that reflects how I see them as young men taking advantage of a situation.
And women.
And women. But he was really reflecting off Emilio Estevez and Rob Lowe and who else was there that night. And I'll be honest, but I'm gonna put it in a light that is beneficial to all of us because I want access to these guys because these guys are going to be huge. Right. If he wrote the story that way, his life changes too.
Right, but when you write it the way you wrote it, you're giving people the reason to go, I knew they was brats.
He wrote it in a way that he got, it elevated his name for a minute. If he would have elevated their name and they would have been bigger, it would have elevated his name for a lot longer period of time. And he could have done the article that way. He didn't have to be that guy. So yes, if you're saying he's a dick, but a writer, an entertainment writer is the enemy.
Dude, I was a little disappointed. I was really hoping he got to sit down with Molly and Judd. But because when he was telling Emilio, he was like, well, you know, Demi called, and you knew he was going to get it with Demi because she called back. Rob Lowe seemed to be on board. But I think when he said to Emilio, yeah, and Molly basically said, I'll think about it, but I really want to concentrate on the future. And again, when you saw her on Conan, you could see it in her face. Well, but I really wanted to hear. I wanted her and Judd. I wish she would have got those interviews.
I really think that she was the most affected by it because she was the
him.
face
I gotta say he was too, though.
Well, but he did other movies and he had opportunities that happened after that, and he had a television show. But you know, here's the other thing too. He got on the television show, and at the time he got on the television show, television wasn't the thing. Like now, actors want to take a television show because that's like now it
has cachet,
and I have millions of dollars and I have residuals coming in for the rest of my life. It wasn't that way when he got the show, and the show was a good show, but it didn't take that next level. But he was on when he was on, what was the one that he's on? What's the one where he plays the cop? Is that
I don't even know.
Isn't Ice-T in that one? Is it the
Law and Order?
No, not TV show, movie. Isn't it
Oh, you're talking about Judd Nelson.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. New Jack City.
Yeah, he had that opportunity, and so him to run from that and not come back on that show, right. I don't understand why he wouldn't want to be on that show. I love the end, and I was almost hoping like there would be a part 2 where they maybe sit down as a group one day and have that conversation. If he can pull that off, then then he's a magician. Yeah. But I would like it because as a person, as a kid from that time period, they were important to me. I mean, when, those scenes, and I love that they brought back that scene because I never forget that scene. Hey, I thought we were going to be friends forever. Well, forever just got a lot shorter. Yeah. And that has always stuck with me. I never forgot that.
That St. Elmo's Fire?
Yeah.
Right.
And
I got to put that on my watch list.
Oh, dude, it's good.
And listen, last thing for me, ain't a homosexual bone in my body, champ. But Rob Lowe, nigga. A young Rob Lowe?
Fuck young Rob Lowe. Rob Lowe still looks good today.
You can see the age. He looks good for his age.
He's 60.
I know, but come on. It's like the difference between a candle you just bought that has never been lit versus it's down to the nub.
I'm just saying, at 60, he's still getting attention when he goes out.
Oh, I wouldn't doubt that. But again, men, you said it, men
are going to get that anyway.
Yeah, because when you got swagger and all,
But the thing that there's one other thing that I got to say that kind of
that nigga's jawline with the dimple and the eyes. His eyes were piercing.
But Andrew McCarthy said something that that I don't understand this because he said this, and I don't know if it was out of context into the way that they edited it down or how. But he said, I was different because I'm a New York guy, and these guys are all LA guys. Mm-hmm. Rob Lowe started off in New York.
Yeah.
Rob Lowe was the New York guy who moved to LA because he fit LA, but he was as much New York as Andrew McCarthy.
Yeah.
So I didn't understand that either. And I don't know.
He probably meant,
That's where they were working. Yeah. He was in Hollywood.
Yeah.
He was already going to the Lakers games. That's
because people feel like when you're in LA, and that, again, just like with the Brat Pack as a label, LA is all glitzy and glamoury and shiny. That's what I loved about Showtime. When they went, people think Pat Riley is this movie star type. No, he's from Schenectady. He's a down-home scrapper.
He's a lunch pail hard hat guy.
He's not this art. Yeah, he wears Armani and the hair is slick, but that's not who. That's not really what defines who he is. So yeah, Rob Lowe. But there is a, and I think a lot of New Yorkers feel this way because there's such a grit and grime and a hustle to New York. You're more of a down-to-earth person versus Hollywood La La Land. They think that's all fluff. But some of the best pussy come out of LA.
Is that a show?
I think that's a show.
Man, okay, so we're doing this as the Brat Pack. What we're going to call it. Is it Brat Pack or just Brats? They called it, the movie was Brats.
Is it Brats?
Yeah, let's call it Brats. Yeah. And let me give you the dates. Let's give you guys some dates where we're going to be. Guys, when you're listening to this, I am not married yet, but while you're listening to this, I will be married. I'm very excited about it.
Dun, 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 dun.
I'm writing my vows, and
you're writing your own vows?
Yeah. But before and when they asked me to do the vows, I've been trying to talk the guy who does the music. We have a piano player, a pianist. And he's playing the piano, and I want him to
a pianist.
Yeah. I want him to go when they go, to me to do the vows. I want him to start. I want to dun 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 like this.
That's funny. Dun dun dun.
But they won't. He doesn't. He doesn't want to do it. He keeps going.
You paying him?
Yeah, but he's like, but
is he gay?
Yeah, no. But he's it's a wedding. It's her wedding, and you're. And I like.
You know how you would really double down? Start out with dun dun dun, and then followed up with doom 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 doom.
That is funny. I got to get this to go.
Do you, Andy, take this woman, and then when you pull out the ring, Star Wars way.
My ring is only going to go.
That's on your honeymoon night.
Yeah, that's even a shorter ring. Oh, somebody got kidnapped.
Amber, a child abduction in San Antonio, Texas. Victim is a 15-year-old.
Did they say what kind of car?
I didn't.
Well, no one's going to hear this for another 10 days, so I don't think it's going to help out anybody. It is hot as in my room because we have to turn off the AC so you guys don't hear that shit, and I'm dying.
You can see it on me. I look like a patent leather Jordan. Next to you, we look like that sneaker. This white sneaker with the patent leather black rim. Yeah.
Dude, I'm just imagining those patent leather Jordans and someone put some googly eyes on it.
Oh, goodness.
Listen, we're, let's see, June 22nd is, I think that's when you're, have we already passed that date? Yeah, because I'm already married.
So we passed Georgia.
Yeah, so we're past Georgia. We're going to be June 27th through the 30th. We're going to be at Helium Comedy Club in St. Louis, Missouri. See us there. June, then we're going to go July 5th through the 6th. We're going to be at the Funny Bone in Omaha. July 11th through the 14th, Improv in Irvine, California. July 18th through the 20th, we're at Cobb's Comedy Club in San Francisco. August 1st to the 3rd, we're going to be at Laugh Out Loud Comedy Club that is in San Antonio, Texas, where there's obviously an abduction right now. August 8th through the 10th, we're going to be at Mic Drop Comedy in San Diego. August 22nd to the 23rd, back in Phoenix at Stand Up Live. 2 days only, 3 shows. August 24th, we're in Tucson, my hometown, born at TMC Medical Center. I'll be at the with Ary Spears, obviously. I'm following him, to the Rialto Theater in Tucson. August 30th through September 1st, we're at the Improv in Houston, Texas. September 7th, one night only, we're at the Complex in Salt Lake City, Utah. September 14th through the 15th, we're at Hartford Funny Bone. That is actually in Manchester, Connecticut, but it is Hartford. September 20th through the 21st, we're going to be at the... where are we going to be? It says we're at the Improv. Sorry, in Kansas City, guys. Kansas City. That's my birthday. That's what I was thinking. That's where I was gone. Come out, celebrate October 4th. We're one night only at Royal Oak Music Theater. And you know what? We haven't said this, and we should have said this on the other ones. October 5th, one night only. We're back in New York. We got our date back in New York.
Yeah. Oh, it's showtime at the Apollo. Let your body move. I'll be at the Apollo Theater, the legendary Apollo Theater, where James Brown has performed, Aretha Franklin, some of the best, biggest, blackest names in music.
Hey, do you think if I go over my time, you can get the Sandman just to hook me and pull me out?
I'm going to get the Sandman, hook you, pull you out anyway.
That's a show, man.
Spears and Steinberg.
Thanks for listening to the Spears and Steinberg podcast. If you'd like to know who's responsible for this, it was hosted by Ary Spears and Andy Steinberg, produced by Steve Merrick and Anthony Holmes, executive producer, Big Papa, Robert Kelly, and Matt Kleinschmidt for the Laugh Button Podcast. For more information on where to find us on the internet, visit SpearsburgPod.com.